Nothing. You clicked on something. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Debt Lifeline. I am Aaron Phillips, but more importantly, the guy next to me, his name is Rob Goldstein. He is the savior for any and all of your financial concerns you have, personally or business. Now he's got stuff for specific people, women in business, the whole thing. He is the answer man, Mr. Rob Goldstein. Good morning. How are you? The Homagilla. We're also Meshuggah around here, too. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You look good. Did you have a good Thanksgiving's coming up? Got any plans for Thanksgiving?
No.
No plans.
No.
All right.
My life just changed now. No, but I will tell you that I don't know if I talked about. I went to Nashville the last weekend. I went to Nashville last weekend, not yesterday weekend, but the week
before. Okay.
To visit my son and his wife.
Okay.
And I was there for 3 days and 2 nights, and oh my God, I love Nashville. First thing I got to tell you is I spent like a half a day in the Gibson garage.
Oh boy, Gibson guitars,
which is the showroom for Gibson, the Gibson guitars.
Wow.
And
did you come home with a new guitar?
No, I almost did. I was like, oh my God, I should do this, but I have 8 Gibsons.
Right.
And I decided not to, but I brought home a lot of little stuff, Gibson,
little tchotchkes.
Tchotchkes. There you go.
Do they have the mini guitars and things?
Yeah,
the little ones.
They did. I didn't know those, but yes, I had fun. It was not quite as much fun as going to Abbey Road.
Okay.
When I went to Abbey Road,
in
middle of the year.
Right.
And I have a picture of me crossing the crosswalk.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me was probably like the highlight of my life.
Sure.
But pretty bad life, right? So I
you didn't get hit, so that's a highlight as you cross the street. So that's
it was the zebra crossing.
Right.
It is actually the most popular, famous crosswalk in the world.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Well, Abbey Road.
Sure.
The album Abbey Road.
Yeah, absolutely. The Beatles don't do that. Anyway, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today.
We do have a lot of stuff.
Oh, by the way, I meant to ask you, we have some new digs we're in now. People may have noticed our show location.
Yes, we have changed our show. We got a different show name, but it's not show name, but the location and the station name.
Worldwide Digital Broadcasting TV. This is our new home for the Debt Lifeline. I practiced it all week.
Yes.
WWDBTV.com. Also, you can find them on Roku if you haven't done that already. But many of you folks out there on the YouTube channel for WWDBTV, we thank you, because from what I've heard, our first 2 episodes just on the YouTube channel have 1,000 views just on each episode of just 2.
Really?
That's pretty cool. It's not a bad start here.
Okay, I you say so.
And I got that straight from the producer's mouth.
You calling him a horse?
I'm not.
Okay.
Anyway, so we thank you. We are great. We're happy to be here, and hope you guys will follow us along. I mean, you're here right
now. Monique is listening.
Hi, Monique
is listening. I know Andrew is listening. I know Jonathan's listening.
Absolutely.
We have our following.
So we do have a phone number if you want to try to give us a call and ask your question direct to Rob. It's 702-992-3207. That's 702-992-3207. Our producer gave me a thumbs up because I read it correctly, even though the phone number is like 1,000 feet away from me.
I don't think it was a thumb that he gave you.
Well, it was a short number.
It was a
different digit. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Give us a call. Of course, the chat room is being monitored right here on Facebook. And of course, check it out on YouTube. Subscribe there. Roku, check it out. We got a lot going on. All right. We do have a big agenda today.
We have a big agenda. We talked about the agenda, and we have a big agenda. And
now, many of our shows earlier this year, last year, when we did them, EIDL was like the tickler word and the tickler letters of the time during COVID.
EIDL, EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan.
Mm-hmm.
EIDL.
I tried that last time. I couldn't get the words out.
We during the pandemic times.
Mm-hmm.
We spent a lot of time on EIDLs.
Mm-hmm.
We had a wonderful guest on our show from the SBA, and the EIDLs were maybe the kickstart of the new creations of my business.
Okay,
and of course now we have the new kickstart stemming from the post EIDLs, which is all the women and minority fundings.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about those soon. But right now, we're going to go back to EIDLs, EIDL. Well, we all know that the EIDLs are closed, right?
Yes.
They've been closed for months. And I don't want to beat that same horse
Yep.
up?
They're not available anymore.
Okay. However, idle loans are coming due. Payments are coming due.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in case you don't know, you being the audience,
Right.
not you.
Well,
being
them out there
Aaron,
too. Talk to them
Is
too.
that your loan is amortized over 30 years
Like a mortgage.
at 3 3/4.
Okay.
And so payments should be very low.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people are still struggling.
Sure.
Okay. And payments are going to start to kick in.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do, you ask, right?
What can you do? I would assume the first thing most people think about when the bill comes in is try to pay it. But if they can't, then that's the question.
Well, if you're following our show,
right.
Some of our followers follow our show and they can pay anything, okay?
Right.
But the focus of our show is about
getting
people
help.
that need help, the
That's
Debt
correct.
Lifeline,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
And if you need help making your payments, there are options.
Right.
Okay.
First one is called Rob Goldstein.
yes. The answer man.
That's right.
Okay. I think you drive the vehicle and I'm the passenger.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I just want you to try to set the stage. So.
Okay, well, that's what we're doing here.
Yes.
So first of all,
I'm taking notes.
we can negotiate for you deferments.
Mm-hmm.
We can get them pushed back.
Okay.
Okay.
Now you're talking just deferments, but not wiped out.
No, we haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, so that's a
We haven't
possibility too.
gotten
So deferments, for everybody that may not be aware, is what, basically putting those payments on the back end. Is that correct?
Yes, you can do that. You could buy 6 months. You could buy a year. You could buy time.
Okay.
It's a process.
Mm-hmm.
But don't forget the one of the focuses of our show is negotiating debt.
Right.
This is now debt.
Aha.
Right.
Okay.
You owe a loan.
Right.
And so this can be negotiated.
Okay. That's good.
I have
Tricks up your sleeve.
tricks up my sleeve.
See, we're good with charades.
And
well, you've already set your communication level up with the idle folks because of how you help people get the loans. Right. So I don't know. Obviously, I don't know, but I'm assuming, probably should say more presuming, that the process of what you're referring to kind of follows that same pattern for you.
Well, you can. First of all, I can negotiate deferments in anything.
Okay.
And to tell you the truth, I mean, we have Andy,
right,
who works on taxes, can defer taxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
He can also negotiate offer and compromises. That's what he specializes in. OIC, offer and compromise,
Okay.
and solving tax resolutions, tax issues. So I can actually do the same thing with debt issues regarding your EID loan.
If somebody decides to file bankruptcy, can the idle be included in that as well? Can an idle loan be included in a bankruptcy?
Yes.
If need be.
Yes.
Okay. And that would be one way that it would be eradicated totally, possibly?
Okay, well, we haven't had a talk about bankruptcies in a long time, and we weren't geared to have bankruptcy. But we'll talk.
Yeah, I just kind of
we'll talk a little bit about bankruptcies. Sure. There are several bankruptcies in the system, chapters in the system, and by the way, these chapters are actually chapters in the
code book.
In the code book, right? There's a chapter 7 is chapter 7 in bankruptcy, and chapter 13 is chapter 13 and so forth in chapter 11. There's more chapter bankruptcies, but we're just going to focus on the 3
ones.
Because you're not a railroad, you're not an insurance company, you're not a farm. I mean, there's all.
But I get derailed a lot.
Sorry?
I get derailed a lot. I might as well be a train.
There you go. So chapter 7, basically, there he is giving you that.
Yeah, he didn't like that one.
Chapter 7 is a discharge of your debts.
Yes. Okay.
Now, in order to file Chapter 7, there's certain requisites. There are, you have to look at your assets and liabilities, your income and expenses. It's a formula to see, and also you can't you can't have income surpassing a certain amount.
Right.
Then they convert you to a Chapter 13, which is a reorganization. So, and then, of course, there is Chapter 11, which is a major reorganization, generally for you think of them as big corporates.
That's more the business one.
But you can also do it personally.
Oh, okay.
Now, most people who have a lot of assets do have them in entities.
Okay.
So you can file an entity bankruptcy, not under your own Social Security number, in an 11, which is a reorganization.
Okay.
So, for example, we could talk about. Name a big company Circuit City.
Okay. Oh boy, that one goes back a while, but
Yeah.
okay. There they are. They're calling right now. So Circuit City, go ahead.
Circuit City filed Chapter 11. Now,
Right.
I don't even know if they're open or not anymore.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
There used to be one or two here in town when I first moved here, but they're no longer
And
there.
then you had Levitt's Furniture. You have,
Sure.
I mean, all these big names you've heard of
Mhm.
that have filed reorganizations. And without getting political,
Yep.
okay, when Trump would take over a business and put him into a bankruptcy, it would be a Chapter 11.
Right. Gotcha.
Okay. The purpose is you can reorganize the entire company in an 11.
Gotcha.
Not a political discussion.
No. Just an example.
So now I have there are loopholes in there are loopholes, or there's
Aces.
magic up my sleeve, tricks up my sleeve, where I could help you deal with the idle payments. Okay. Something that I don't want to just like expose on the show. There is on my I don't know if it's on my website. It should be on my website. There should be a animated video of about 1 minute and 20 seconds long. I think we've played it before.
Yes, we have
on the previous show. We should probably play it one of these days on this show.
Okay. I guess we have to make sure the studio has it.
Yeah. And it's also on the media that we send you when somebody requests information. We have a bunch of media. Okay. And it should be on this called The Secrets of 13. So there are things that I could do to help you deal with your idle payments. And
we're going to segue into this when we come back from break here in a few minutes. Student loans also.
Break time?
Almost. That's why I'm setting it up. We have this is what's called a tease to let our producer know we're getting ready to go to break and have our commercials ready.
Tease the
well,
audience.
They're going to, because you just ended with the comment of student loans. And so when we come back, that's one of the things we're going to talk about is student loans.
There you go.
So they're involved. See,
I
tied it together. I tied it together. By the way, as you're listening or watching at whatever point or wherever location you may be choosing to watch it or rewatch it, if you do have any questions, give Rob a call at 702-701-2992. That's 702-701-2992. Now, you mentioned your website. I know it's been under construction, being updated. What's the status of it?
Almost done.
Almost done. And the website is what?
The website is the CMF website.
Whichever website you want to give them.
It's cmfconsultants.net.
Okay.
And that stands for Commercial and Minority Funding Consultants.
Which we'll talk about as well.
CMF
There you
Consultants.
Go. No more RG Consulting? Or
no, we have our Goldstein Consulting.
And what is that one?
It's the debt portion and solving problems, bureaucratic clusterfucks, credit issues, debt issues. Okay. So they're divided into two different parts. It's same people,
but two different product services. So what's the name of that other website? That's the R. Goldstein one. Is it Rob Goldstein Consulting?
No, R. Goldstein.
R. Goldstein. He's got so many different names.
rgoldsteinconsultants.com.
There you go.
And you have Commercial Minority Funding. CMF Consultants.
It's not easy, is it?
Well, the name of the website is cmfconsultants.net.
And we'll get to that as well. That's on our agenda to touch on that. All right, we're going to step aside for our first break. You are watching the Debt Lifeline. I'm Aaron Phillips with Rob Goldstein. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
How would you like to temporarily cripple your creditors so you could buy time to protect yourself to achieve whatever it is that you need to do? Just like using a stun gun with scenes from a James Bond movie, this video will show you what you can do and learn free information on 13 dirty secrets to trump the creditors and survive in today's world. Do you feel like the walls are caving in on you, overwhelmed by debt and bills? No matter what you do, your world seems to be crashing down on you. What if we could stop, slow down, or freeze time, allowing you to find the right solution? Do you feel that every time you see a light at the end of the tunnel, it's really a train coming at you? What if I could show you how to legally derail that train? You've probably felt as though your opportunities are limited because you don't quite fit into any viable option. Almost as though you're a square peg trying to fit into a round hole, while facing upcoming foreclosures, repossessions, legal matters, or collections. Maybe the answer is simpler than you think, but you can't put things together while drowning in stress and deadlines. What if I could show you how to trump the creditors and monsters that are pulling down on you? It doesn't matter where you live, or how much money you have or don't, your job or your assets. There is a legal way to buy time so you can stop, slow down, or freeze your current situation, allowing you to avoid stress and save money.
Grieber Tax Advisors, the leader in tax problem resolution. Our team provides clients with customized solutions for their tax audit representation, collection matters, and delinquent or problem tax filing needs. Led by Andrew Grieber, CPA, they work directly with small business owners and individuals to assess their situation and work to resolve their tax problems direct with the proper federal or state authorities. Call area code 949-379-6480. That's 949-379-6480. If you're in a mess with the IRS, call Grieber Tax Advisors and stop the stress. Trustworthy and experienced attorneys can be hard to find. The locally owned law office of Ernie A. Bush Jr. has decades of experience practicing law in the areas of bankruptcy, family law, wills and trusts, and injury law. Ernie the attorney makes every effort to obtain the best possible outcome for you and your case. If you want honest advice, straightforward rates, and no hidden fees, call Ernie the attorney today at 702-388-0222. That's 702-388-0222. Or visit www.bushlawlv.com. Hey, welcome back to the Debt Lifeline show, coming to you live from our new studio home, WWDBTV.com. By the way, if you have to leave us and can't continue watching us, guess what we have here? You can go to your Play Store. You can go anywhere that you want to. Look up WWDBTV, okay? Download the app so you can take us on the go, at least continue listening to the information that Rob has to offer and provide you for anything that you need. So again, that's WWDBTV in your Play Store for your app. Download it, and you can continue listening to any of the shows here, as well as great music when there's no live show in studio. 702-701-2992. That's Rob's direct line. He will return your call if he's busy like right now. Trust me, he will return your call. Give us a call here in the studio. We need to test the phone lines anyway because they're dusty. 702-992-3207. That's 702-992-3207. Our producer just cleaned the line. Anyway, let's get back to how we ended the first segment. You kind of threw in student loans there as a little segue. So let's talk about student loans in the mix here.
Well, student loans are divided into two categories.
Okay.
Federal, private.
Mm-hmm.
Federal are ones that the government gives off.
Okay.
Private are generally from
from the institution.
Institutions, yeah.
Okay.
You would almost characterize the private student loans to be from, let's say, the school, like the ITT or whatever.
Sure.
But they could be also from third parties, but they're private, not federal.
Okay.
I would say that the federal loans outnumber the private loans, like 8-1, 9-1. I mean, it's a big difference in the amount of loans and the dollars. For over 30 years, I've been doing this stuff for 32 years now.
Mm-hmm.
For over 30 years, I have been saying that the private loans are dischargeable in bankruptcy.
Right.
They are highly negotiable because they're like credit cards.
Sure.
And
makes sense.
I put them in the same category as a credit card.
Okay. Makes sense.
Federal loans, they say you can't negotiate, but I don't know. I must have negotiated dozens and dozens of federal student loans. So either I'm just pulling off miracles, but they are negotiable.
Well, you are the bulldog.
But everything is negotiable. But they're two different. They're treated two different types of categories. And I've been telling bankruptcy attorneys that private student loans are dischargeable. Dischargeable means they will be wiped out in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy.
Okay.
And I've had this argument with them, debate with them.
You're educating them.
And I'm educating them, and I win that debate every time. And all of a sudden, again, we're not getting political, but we're going to mention the president last year saying that they are dischargeable in bankruptcy.
Okay, there you go.
No shit, Sherlock,
He finally listened to the show.
So they are dischargeable in bankruptcy, which makes them a lot greater opportunity for settlements.
Okay, which makes sense. I mean, if it's recognized that way as an open loan now publicly, since the president confirmed that information, then I would imagine more people would consider going down that line. Would you not?
Yes.
And they would call you.
They should.
They better.
They should. Now, the other category, my federal student loans,
Okay.
they are negotiable. They take a lot longer. It's a lot more work, but they do negotiate. They don't publicly announce that they negotiate, but they do.
Right.
Okay, so this is all pre-current administration.
Okay.
Okay, this is all just.
But now it seems to be coming to light.
Okay, well,
right?
It is coming to light. Do you remember back on the video that they played?
Okay.
There was a train coming at you.
Yep.
Okay, there was a light at the end of the tunnel. But there was a train coming at you. Recent updates, like hot off the press updates,
Okay.
is now that it could be Congress or somebody is saying that it is illegal for him to do what he's doing.
Okay.
Him being the president.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Again, these are not opinions talking about political opinions. This is not a political show.
Stuff you can read about.
Okay, but when a president or a party makes certain claims and puts things into effect, it's my job to discuss them.
Right.
It's not a political opinion.
Right.
Okay.
But
we don't want to go there.
No, we don't want to go. But with those kinds of discussions and the things that are coming out from the authorities, the administration, the president, whomever, you need to stay on top of that because you need to know what's going on to service your clients.
It's my business.
Right. You need to. Right. Exactly.
They're saying now that's not legal. No.
Writing off the debt.
Letting people off, and it's certainly unfair to a lot of people.
We've had that discussion a lot.
And so, so when we talk about student loans, again, there's two different categories. Now, clearly, if you took out a private student loan and never got that class, or actually any student loan and never got that class, for whatever the reason is, there should be a method, a vehicle to get that debt reduced or wiped out.
Makes sense. That's like any product. If
That's
you
like
pay
any
for
product,
something,
right,
you don't get it, you
right.
expect to be refunded.
Exactly. So if you paid for the class, didn't get the class. Now, a lot of this happened with private student loans where they canceled the classes but didn't cancel the debt.
And that was more like those private institutions like we've talked about in the past, right?
Yes.
Like,
Then it's taken a step further when the current administration talks about colleges like ITT, the trade school.
Right.
And they're wiping out their debt because they went bankrupt. Now, technically speaking, if you got that education and that lender went bankrupt,
right.
there's probably a chance that in the bankruptcy, those loans were sold off as assets to other financial institutions.
Sure.
Just like in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, if there are assets in the estate, the trustee will step in and sell them off. Now, of course, the trustee makes money doing that, and the estate gets money. I mean, there's a domino effect. Look at that in stereo. So if the Bank of Oshkosh bought those assets out of the ITT bankruptcy, and those were people that went to the school and took those classes,
right.
even though they eventually went bankrupt, the college went bankrupt. Is that debt still viable? You got the education. Right. I'm just giving you the other side of the coin, the flip side.
Absolutely. That's no friend of mine this past week. He's getting married this upcoming weekend. And he asked me if I knew somebody that does photography because the photographer that they paid skipped ghosting them, and they paid him, didn't get the product. So of course now they're trying to find him and track him down to get their money back. So it's kind of like in that scenario.
Well, we talk about frauds and we talk about scams, and gosh, there's so many frauds and scams, and I can't keep up with them all. And now we're going to segue into talking about some of these crypto scams and some guy that skimmed off probably billions of dollars. A lot of investors out there. And I'm not going to mention the names.
No, but cryptos, it's a whole different animal.
It's a whole different thing, and I was always leery of it. I always thought that some of them were Ponzi schemes. But clearly, if there was billions and billions and billions of dollars and there's only $65,000 left in the account when they filed bankruptcy, something went wrong.
Sure.
Okay. But so you go back to we're using only ITT as an example. We're not. This is not an ITT
conversation
dissection.
Nope.
Okay. So if you went to ITT, you got your education, you got placed in a job, you got everything you wanted, and they went bankrupt, should that debt be wiped out?
In my opinion, I would say no.
Okay. Now, the Bank of Oshkosh, and I hope there's not a Bank of Oshkosh, but if the Bank of Oshkosh, yeah, sorry. If the Bank of Oshkosh bought their debt in the bankruptcy, they have a viable debt.
Sure.
So to take away their receivable would be incorrect.
I agree with that.
So, you have to go through really what happened. You have to dissect it.
Sure.
Okay. Now, a lot of trade schools were selling courses, never had the courses, for whatever the reasons may be. You shouldn't have to pay for those anyway.
Right.
If the class was not made available to you. Now, what if you took out a student loan, the class went on, you just didn't go? I had somebody contact me saying the class existed, I just never went. Can I get out of that debt?
Now, how would they track that? Because most teachers in college, they don't take attendance. So how would he be able to how would the school be able to prove one way or the other in that particular case?
There's no accounting for that.
Right. But in your case, in that scenario, I would also say the debt should not be wiped off.
It shouldn't be.
Right.
Now, if there are opportunities for people to wipe out the debt based upon certain parameters set by the government, it is my job. Is my job to provide that service for a client.
Sure.
So if it's for whatever the reason is, if you fit a category where student loan can be forgivable, okay, wiped out,
right? Then
we at our Goldstein Consulting, the Debt Lifeline, can help you in getting rid of that debt if you fit the parameter. Now, by the way, as you've already acknowledged, it takes a long time. It takes several months. You have to go through a lot of bureaucratic red tape to get it wiped out, but you can get it wiped out, and we generally know which ones will and will not. And we won't mislead somebody. We're not looking to sell a service where you're not going to get what you paid for.
Sure. No, and I'm glad you said that in a general scope, whether it's a scenario like that or with the CMF product for women and minorities, you do sit down with the client and you kind of analyze in your consultation with them to see if it makes sense.
We do charge in the work that we do a small startup fee. And everyone is different based upon the scenario.
Sure.
And I won't mislead a client.
Right.
I don't ever want that phone call. You told me, because it's not in my vocabulary. I just don't do that.
Right.
So if I don't think you're eligible for a student loan forgiveness program, I'm going to tell you my opinion. Now, what we do is we charge a small assessment fee to do the homework to see if you fit that category.
Sure.
So your risk would be probably a few $100s.
Okay.
But up front, if I don't believe you I will tell you so.
Right.
And I just don't want to do the work for a small amount of money that has no chance. I don't want to take the money. I don't want to mislead a client. I don't want anything negative in the reputation.
Right. And you just hit on it. There's no benefit for you to just take clients on just because your business, as you've shared stories in the past, you get a lot of referral business from someone who you satisfy.
I live on referrals.
Right.
And I don't ever want a referring person saying, but Rob, I took on a client back. This reminds me of a negative situation.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest with you, but
That's
it's a
all
great
right.
example.
That happens.
It was a client referred to me for an EIDL loan at the time.
Okay.
And one of the requirements is you have to be current on your taxes. You have to have whatever the year was, 19 or 20. I think it was 19.
Correct. It was 2019.
Tax return. And when I go through with the client, I give them a list of things. Talk about the criteria.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a 2019 tax return? Yes,
Okay.
I have one. Okay. What I didn't say, did you file it?
I have it,
but I never filed it. I won't file it.
it.
And so we did all this work for him, and I'm waiting, and I sent in the 2019 tax return that he gave me
Mm-hmm.
to the SBA,
Right.
but they didn't find it in the tax transcripts when they do that.
Which comes from the IRS.
IRS 4506T. Remember
Yes. Oh, I do.
Which when Tracy
Mm-hmm.
was on our show, she said it's the most important thing is that, and she pulled out a copy of the 4506T and she went through all the different points on there, and you have to have them all done correctly. And the client said, well, I do have one. I just never filed it, and I won't file it.
Mm-hmm. Big difference.
So when I go back to the materials, I want all the materials, so I'm not wasting their time,
Right.
their money, my time, my money, because I pay staff.
Sure.
I mean,
Somebody's got to do the work.
We're
Especially
not.
that hurricane in Florida.
We are not.
Love you.
Hi, Monique.
Yes.
So we don't want. That's why we're upfront.
Absolutely. And you have to be, because like you said, it's all about reputation, successes, because success breeds more success. I just want to remind everybody, you are watching the Debt Lifeline, coming to you from WWDBTV studios here in Las Vegas. You are watching the Debt Lifeline. You can find us here on Facebook. You can find us on the WWDBT, I like saying that, WWDBTV YouTube channel. Go to the Roku channel if you have it. You can just download the channel for Worldwide Digital Broadcasting. See what I did there? And all the shows that the station has there, including the Debt Lifeline as well. We appreciate you checking in with us to get some of your answers, help, guidance that maybe you didn't even know was available to you. So we appreciate you tuning in today to today's show. 702-992-3207 is the studio line. If you'd like to call in and ask Rob a question, please feel free to. However, if you want to talk confidentially, give him a call direct, 702-701-2992. Did I cover everything?
Wow, you did that really well.
All in one breath.
You've done this before.
Not once or twice. All right. So student loans, they can be solved in some direction. Your idle loans can be handled in some direction. Now, you mentioned when we had the brief recap about bankruptcies, you talked about something called equity. And then, of course, in the title of our show is the word debt. There seems to be some confusion about that.
Really.
See what I did there?
Well done. Yes, you did that well.
I'm a professional.
You're
you're
good.
this at home.
You're good at this stuff. All right. I was recently brought a couple of opportunities for somebody looking for money for their business.
Okay.
Now there is no canned answer for that.
Mm-hmm.
There is no boilerplate.
Right.
Every deal is different. So
Sure.
I'm gonna give some scenarios of the deals.
Okay.
Okay. A friend of mine out there in the business
TV
world
land.
and poker world and
Okay.
whatever.
Okay.
And actually, we actually want to have her on our show.
Okay.
But that's another story because she has her own show and she's a great.
That's
she's
fine.
Great.
We can cross promote. It's all good.
Okay. She brought me somebody that says they're looking for investors to build their business.
Okay.
Investors, not alone. Looking for investors to build their business so they can take it to the next step into maybe a big company.
Okay.
And
Don't most companies want to do that anyway? Most businesses, they want to advance, they want to grow.
well,
right?
sure, but
Right.
and when you're looking for investors,
Right.
okay, you have to. If you're looking for investors, not alone,
Mm-hmm.
there is that's called an equity deal.
Okay.
For example, we don't want to borrow money. We don't have any assets, or we don't want to borrow money.
Mm-hmm.
We want someone to buy into our company, give us money to take it to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, they're not buying an asset; they're buying stock in a
Right.
company to take it to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's not like a business that is part of has a big commercial building, and you're buying into the building as security. Okay. You're buying into a startup, generally a startup business, to market it.
Mm-hmm.
That's called an equity deal.
Okay.
The term equity is very important. In order to market those type of businesses, you must have what they call a broker dealer.
Okay.
We're not talking about a real estate broker. We're not talking about a car dealer.
No, you're talking about the person who can bring both sides together to basically help
to
negotiate.
market it to hedge funds and equity funds and to investment firms.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a broker dealer involving in that transaction, looking for investors, then you are violating the Security and Exchange Commission's rules.
Okay.
So in order to sell a equity deal, you have to follow a format that keeps people from being defrauded, scammed, under the rules of the SEC, Security Exchange Commission.
Which, of course, if you do something underhandedly and the SEC finds out about it, then you're in trouble.
Yeah. So, we've talked in many of our shows about various frauds and schemes, and I think the one that I see popping up is a company that sells crypto under three different letters.
Okay.
And again, I'm not trying to discuss them. I'm only talking about the opportunity.
Right.
And now there are several prominent celebrities being tied with that.
Okay.
That they might be open. Again, I'm not analyzing everything there on that. They might be open to some liability.
Okay.
Because they endorsed this company, of crypto company. So people bought it because they followed the endorsement of certain celebrities they may believe in. And maybe these celebrities were duped. We don't know. I'm not here to.
Yeah.
This
doesn't matter.
This is not a gossip show. Just an example. Now, I don't know. I would assume they filed with a broker dealer and did all the SEC. But I will tell you that if you're trying to raise money to have a series of investors buy into a company so that it makes the company bigger and better, which of course we want.
Everybody wants to go their business.
And they're selling shares of the company. It has to be done properly. And it's a rule that cannot be sidestepped.
Right. Okay. So that's not a DIY kind of snenario.
No. So another deal was brought to me just recently as well too, where they were looking for investors to help promote their show. Okay. And in order to take on investors
you're talking about like a stage show? Like a show here you would find at a casino as a show? I'm just curious so we can define what a show means.
No, it could be a stage show.
Okay,
gotcha. It doesn't necessarily have to be a stage show. But if you're selling shares, well, here's another example. Okay, it brings to mind. Do you know where I'm going on this one?
I do not, but I'm sure I will along the way.
The theme song of that show was "Springtime for Hitler" in Germany.
Oh yes, I got you. I got you.
The producers.
The producers. That's right.
Okay.
We should ask a trivia question. Who are the original two actors in the original movie?
Oh, Zero Mostel and
Gene Wilder.
And Gene Wilder. I love Gene Wilder.
Zero Mostel, fiddler on the roof, by the way, for those who don't know.
That's right.
He was trying to be a rich man. What do you want from him? Okay. See what I did there?
So when you think about the movie, this is actually the best. If you think about this, the show producers.
Yes. Who was trying to get investors.
Okay,
right? Yep.
Getting investors in and hoping they'd flop out and scam all that money, and the show turned out to be a big hit.
Right.
So there's the perfect example of all. Now I took my kids to see the producers, and it had Jason Alexander and Martin Short. And at intermission, they swapped parts.
Did they really?
Yeah, that's how incredible
Wow.
they both are.
Wow. Yeah, I can imagine that. I
So-
can see them doing that.
So the producers was an equity deal. There you go. Okay, that's one.
Eventually became an equity deal after it was successful.
But then
No, but they were looking for investors to get in under the
right.
scenario that we're talking
the
about.
concept of the producers is probably the best example I could ever come with. Now, I just had a deal brought to me also last
Okay.
week that a previous client
Mhm.
owns a gas station. Owns a gas station with service bays and convenience stores and a couple of other stores.
Hi, Jennifer in Hawaii. See you in the chat room. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you. Love you. It's our
Hi,
friend Jennifer.
I know.
See,
I met
she
her.
follows. I know you do. She follows.
So-
See? Fans
so-
follow.
I will tell you that they have a business.
Okay.
They have a business tied to real estate.
Mhm.
Okay. And they owe about 50% of what's the property in the business is worth.
Okay.
Actually, of just what the property's worth. This will be called a debt deal, DEBT.
Okay.
Is when you borrow money against an asset. You're borrowing money, you're getting a loan.
Mhm.
So the type of deals that we really that are much more doable and much easier
Mhm.
and cheaper to get involved in.
So that sounds
Is a
like more of
debt
like a
deal.
collateral kind of thing.
Right.
Instead of debt.
You have-
Instead of collateral, they're saying
You have a
debt.
building, you
Right.
have receivables,
Right.
you have inventory,
Machines.
you have machines, you have
Okay.
equipment, you have something to tie to it.
Right.
Then you're going to borrow money against these assets,
Mhm.
whatever they may be.
Sure.
That
Now, who
becomes
appraises the assets? Is it based on P&L statements over the year, or who comes in and says,
there's,
okay,
there's
well, this
actually
machine...
if you're doing it on machinery.
Okay.
Well, first of all, if you paid $25,000 for a widget machine, okay,
Mhm. Mhm.
who knows what it's worth today?
Right.
Probably it's worth a lot less.
Sure.
So there are companies that will give an appraisal for
Okay.
that, and we will retain those companies to get those appraisals.
Gotcha.
Getting loans on assets
Mhm.
much easier.
Mhm.
The process is better.
Mhm.
It's more what we specialize in.
Mhm.
When we mentioned a series of different types of assets, right?
Mhm.
And there's got to be something to tie on to. And the key question is the ability to pay.
Mhm.
The EIDL loans were the only loans where they didn't have to show the ability to pay.
And we talked about that where that first round, it was just like, well, you're breathing, here's a loan for you.
Yeah.
You're watching the Debt Lifeline. We're down to our final break of the show. When we come back, we're going to talk about a lot of other things. CMF, the Commercial Minority Funding Division that is available. We'll talk about what that is. Also, you have a new program regarding affiliates, which I'm interested in hearing about. And
We do?
Well, that's a little birdie told me that. And then anything else that we feel that we'll fill in the last segment of the show, I know we'll come up with something really juicy for you. Anyway, thank you for watching the Debt Lifeline. Hey, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Grieber Tax Advisors, the leader in tax problem resolution. Our team provides clients with customized solutions for their tax audit representation, collection matters, and delinquent or problem tax filing needs. Led by Andrew Grieber, CPA, they work directly with small business owners and individuals to assess their situation and work to resolve their tax problems direct with the proper federal or state authorities. Call area code 949-379-6480. That's 949-379-6480. If you're in a mess with the IRS, call Grieber Tax Advisors and stop the stress. Trustworthy and experienced.
How would you like to temporarily cripple your creditors so you could buy time to protect yourself to achieve whatever it is that you need to do? Just like using a stun gun with scenes from a James Bond movie, this video will show you what you can do and learn free information on 13 dirty secrets to trump the creditors and survive in today's world. Do you feel like the walls are caving in on you, overwhelmed by debt and bills? No matter what you do, your world seems to be crashing down on you. What if we could stop, slow down, or freeze time, allowing you to find the right solution? Do you feel that every time you see a light at the end of the tunnel, it's really a train coming at you? What if I could show you how to legally derail that train? You've probably felt as though your opportunities are limited because you don't quite fit into any viable option. Almost as though you're a square peg trying to fit into a round hole, while facing upcoming foreclosures, repossessions, legal matters, or collections. Maybe the answer is simpler than you think, but you can't put things together while drowning in stress and deadlines. What if I could show you how to trump the creditors and monsters that are pulling down on you? It doesn't matter where you live, or how much money you have or don't, your job or your assets. There is a legal way to buy time so you can stop, slow down, or freeze your current situation, allowing you to avoid stress and save money.
Welcome back to the Debt Lifeline. I'm Aaron Phillips, along with Rob Goldstein, the man with the answers to get you out of your financial crisis, sort of like life preservers you throw out to somebody.
Didn't we look at a couple of new songs to put on there on the show?
We did, but I don't think the one you showed us before the show would be an appropriate one.
No, not that song. But no, money, 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 money.
Oh yes,
money.
yes. I'm sure as we continue to grow and our producer gets familiar with the show, he'll be more and more comfortable with doing stuff like that.
Right.
But again, the Debt Lifeline is here. We've talked a lot, so you better make sure you go back and rewatch the show either on the YouTube channel, right here on Facebook, or of course the Roku channel for WWDBTV.
Now, can I plug CMF a little bit?
That was last on the agenda.
Plugging CMF a little bit is Commercial Minority Funding Consultants.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a campaign to promote to women and minorities. And I know that's kind of almost
hand in hand for a lot of cases.
There you go. I was doing that.
I know. I saw it out of the corner of my eye.
So, because in the business world, women are minorities. The business world.
Sure.
Now, we like it as guys that they're not the minority, but they.
Send your comments to.
Sorry, guys. Got me thinking of Joe Cocker and John Belushi.
Oh yeah. Oh jeez.
And
where did that come from this?
I don't know. Saturday Night Live stuff. Anyway, women are considered minorities.
Okay.
And we talked in the beginning of the show. We talked the last two shows. The spinoff from the EIDL is now women and minorities.
Okay.
Are able to get easier funding, more funding, and grants.
Okay.
Based upon various sorts of criteria that I'm not going to list on the show.
Okay.
So we are going to be kickstarting our campaign.
Okay.
To get to market to women and minorities, to all the business groups out there, all the Chamber of Commerce out there, and so forth.
Meetup and things like that.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, meetup.
The meetups.com.
You got that? You got that, Monique? Hurricane Monique meetup. So we're going to be marketing to them. Okay. We also have another avenue we're going to be marketing to. Shall I disclose my?
If it's breaking news and and it can help people, absolutely.
Veterans.
A program specific to veterans for businesses?
For helping them, getting them into business. We have a new program that we're working on, and we are going to be marketing. And we've had a very good VA contact and a very special veteran and a dear, dear, dear friend of mine who will be another guest on our show.
Okay.
Again.
Okay.
That will help us in marketing to veterans to help them get into business. We're going to be offering tremendous programs for that.
Now, a lot of this stuff.
Stay tuned. We're going to have a show just for that.
I'm looking for. I think that's terrific, and I can't wait to hear. And I honestly, folks, didn't know about that. So I'm he didn't hearing it for the first time. So I'm anxious. I'm excited and anxious to hear what's going to be offered and how it's going to be done. But a lot of these things, we talk about the meetup as an example. Some of the things you're offering in terms of workshops now too could be either online, maybe in person.
Mostly online. And if I could do it in person, that'd be great. But I can't spread myself out all over the country.
Now, are these recorded?
No, they'll be live. They're going to be
live Zooms and stuff.
They're going to be live workshops.
I bet I
live
know
Zoom workshops.
I bet I know a studio that can probably host those for you. Just thinking out loud.
I will need to have a whiteboard or something that
Well, just draw on the wall behind us.
that
He'd appreciate it.
simulates. That's the right word. A whiteboard, so I could be writing stuff. Because I tend to do that. We're also going to be having workshops on credit, and we're going to teach people how to read and understand your credit report. Okay, and how you could improve your FICO scores. What does FICO stand for? Do you remember?
I do know it's financial income calculating overhead. I don't remember.
That's not bad. Not bad out of your butt.
I know. I pulled that one out.
Fair, Isaac and Company. Fair, Fair, Isaac and Company. And I don't know. I picture, when you go to like JFK Airport. It's such a huge, convoluted.
Yes.
You got to think that the original architects must have been drunk one day or stoned one day, and they just say, "Oh, you put the thing there."
Draw lines all over the place.
So they might have done it this way, but with making the scores. But it's been 25 years or more. I don't have the exact date of FICO. I was around doing credit repair during the old days of TRW.
Well, maybe our crack research staff can quickly look up when FICO started.
Maybe, but these guys went around and all three of the major bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. They use FICO. They score them a little differently, so your FICO scores on the three different agencies might be different. That's why some lenders might take the middle score,
like an average.
They may take, they might take an average of them. They might do something. The middle score is not necessarily an average.
No, I'm saying, but take an average.
They will do something in somewhat of a fairness, and I also understand that this past year that they're now taking medical issues off that,
but only up to a certain amount, if I recall.
Well, there's and there's certain other stipulations, but I must tell you though that because of medical insurance and the entire overwhelming clusterfuck there, that it's okay we say that, right?
Yeah, we can say that.
Okay. That we don't offend John.
Oh, nothing offends John.
That it is actually on there wrongly. I'm also going to tell people when student loans are sold to other services or transferred, then they become duplicates on your credit report, triplicates on your credit report.
Did not know that.
Yes, so that therefore the same debt could be on the report several times, lowering your scores each time. Worse. So that's why you want us to look at your credit reports.
And everybody should look at their credit reports anyway, right? And what's the best site or sites to do that?
myfico.com and annualcreditreport.com. They are different sites using the same information. Do not go to Credit Karma or one of those type of companies. You will get very inaccurate reports. I
want to go back to CMF for a second, because you mentioned that now post EIDL, the focus is on the minorities, women and minorities. Yes. And is that because during the pandemic, when people's incomes were, for a lot of people, eradicated, that more women maybe were starting to do things with arts and crafts, so they created their own business that now they decided
like
to stick
Molly's
with it?
Muffins or
something. Yeah, I mean, Mrs. Field started it in her kitchen at home, so that's how things get started. Is that one of the reasons why?
Yes, that's one of the reasons why, and they're also trying to promote minorities. And
why do you think more women started businesses at that time than men did?
Because they weren't advancing to the levels that men were advancing during the corporate structures. And I think that women can be smarter than men. It reminds me of a song done by my cousin's group, the Grateful Dead.
Oh, wow.
Women are smarter than men.
All right, that's true. I remember that.
Women are smarter than men. And, women are wonderful.
Careful.
I know.
I'm sitting here quiet. You can tap dance all you want on that.
But they're being recognized as not being treated fairly in the workplace, and they're given those opportunities.
Well, listen, it's a long time coming that the balance should be there. And I agree with you that women tend to be a lot more detailed in ways that men only wish they could. And I think it's great. I think
And
it's great.
ironically, by the way, in all my career and all my businesses,
Right.
women were better in my business than men.
Mm-hmm.
I've made women stars in sales
Mm-hmm.
where guys couldn't. So I'm just going to tell you that I have experience with promoting women in the professional ranks.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of making money, we only have a couple of minutes left. I know you wanted to talk about this. You have some affiliate program we were talking about.
You know, I don't advertise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on social media now. I'm doing my podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and we market to our database of people, and we're starting to market through various organizations now.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a network of people
Mm-hmm.
that refer work to me,
Mm-hmm.
and we're creating an affiliate program
Okay.
for those people who refer work, so that they could add to their
Pocket.
There you go.
Let's get right to it. It's a way to get some money.
So we are making a program. It's going to be on our new website.
Okay.
And we are going to be also having workshops with our affiliates.
Okay.
So there's the affiliate. To become an affiliate doesn't take any criteria. We want somebody to be in the business of some sort.
Right.
People that are dealing with people in their businesses,
Mm-hmm.
and people in their and who need
Right.
money, or certain
Mm-hmm.
loan brokers, for
Mhm.
example, real estate brokers, attorneys,
Right.
things like that. People that are in the professional business
Okay.
are a great source. Have always been a great source
Mhm.
of referrals, and there's no prerequisite except you have the ability to bring people to the table. But we do want to have a monthly 1-hour workshop,
Okay.
just to update everybody on maybe new events.
And the information for that is going to be on the new website, correct? For CMF?
Correct.
Okay, so look for that to come.
And
Once the websites are up, we'll certainly announce it.
Monique and I have been working on the final touches,
Okay.
and hopefully it'll be up within a week or so.
All right.
I'm hoping. I mean, this is going to be the quickest website that I've ever done. And
Well,
so
once Monique puts her mind to it, then I know it'll get done. Listen, the meter's running out on the show, by the way. Just thought I'd let you know. So a lot of recap stuff, a lot of stuff that was talked about today. The best way to review it, just go right back to the YouTube channel, click on video. I'm sorry, on the Facebook page, click on videos, pull up today's show, go to the Roku channel for WWDBTV. You can pull it up there. The YouTube channel for WWDBTV. Go to the website, WWWDBTV.com. And again, just to make it easy for you, if you have any questions for Rob, please give him a call, 702-701-2992.
and can people find this on my Facebook page?
And you can-
R. Goldstein Consulting.
That's where they're watching it right now.
Oh,
But I'm glad you mentioned it. Like, subscribe to the show, anything that you need to do. Also, too, remember, download the app for WWDBTV because A, there's great music when their show's not on like ours, and there's a great show like ours on. You'll still hear us over the audio. Take us on the go with you. So with that, I want to listen. By the time we see everybody, it's going to be after Thanksgiving, so we want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Please don't let the tryptophan totally affect your way to get out of your chair after you eat. Final words, sir, before we say goodbye.
happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and feel free to call me for any questions.
There you have it. I'm Aaron Phillips. As I always like to say, please be kind to everybody. Why is that? We're all we have. Have a great Thanksgiving with friends, family, whatever you need to do, make it yours. We'll see you next time right here on the Debt Lifeline. Thank you for watching.